Hello viewers, welcome back. Today we will do the first chapter of physics or the 8th chapter of the science NCERT book, that is motion. In this chapter we will cover how a body is in motion and rest, displacement, distance, speed, velocity, rectilinear motion, types of motion, acceleration, dt graph, vt graph, equations of motion, and then a short introduction to uniform circular motion. So what is motion? For example, ये एक बॉल है, ठीक है. टू प्रूव इट इज़ इन मोशन आई विल से दैट द बॉल मूव्ड. सो जब अपन बोलते हैं कि एक चीज़ मूव हो गई, दैट मीन्स उस ऑब्जेक्ट ने टाइम के साथ साथ अपनी पोजीशन चेंज कर ली. जब टाइम के साथ पोजीशन चेंज होती है तभी अपन बोलते हैं ना कि एन ऑब्जेक्ट इज़ इन मोशन. सो फॉर एग्जांपल ये पॉइंट ए है एंड ये पॉइंट बी है एंड नाउ दिस इज़ अ बॉल. टाइम 1 सेकेंड पे दिस बॉल वॉज एट पोजिशन ए एंड 4th सेकेंड पे इट इज़ एट पोजिशन बी. दैट मीन्स with the increase in time the ball changes its position. So when a body changes its position with time it is said to be in motion. So here the ball, ये जो ball है यहाँ पे motion में है. For example अब एक चीज़ ये है कि ये ball जहाँ पे थी वहाँ पे एक ट्री थी. So जहाँ भी ये बॉल खड़ी थी और जहाँ भी ये बॉल एट रेस्ट थी, जैसे इसने मोशन शुरू करा वो एक ट्री थी एंड उस ट्री से इस बॉल ने अपना मोशन स्टार्ट करा था. सो this tree will be known as the reference point or the origin. Why? Because reference point or origin is a stationary point or a stationary object from where a body starts its motion. So अगर मैं यहाँ पे ट्री की जगह एक कोई मूविंग कार लेती और बोलती कि जो मूविंग कार है ये मेरा रेफरेंस पॉइंट था, तो दैट वुड बी रॉन्ग बिकॉज रेफरेंस पॉइंट हैज़ ऑलवेज गॉट टू बी स्टेशनरी. फॉर एग्जाम्पल कार पे roads पे the car which are moving, they are in motion. This boy who is running, he is in motion. Now next is rest. Again we take the same ball and I say this is point A, this is point B and this is first second, this is 4th second. फर्स्ट सेकेंड में भी बॉल यहीं थी एंड फोर्थ सेकेंड में भी बॉल यहीं थी पॉइंट ए पे. दैट मीन्स द बॉडी हैज़ नॉट चेंज इट्स पोजिशन विद टाइम. So when an object does not change its position with time, it is said to be at rest. Example, this car on the road. At first second it is here only, at second second it is here only, at the third second also it is here, at the fourth second also. So we see time change हो रहा है लेकिन इस कार की position change नहीं हो रही. So it is not changing its position with time and hence it is at rest. Now next is the relativeness of terms motion and rest. So relativeness of motion and rest is such that it depends on the frame or the observer's frame of the viewer. For example, whenever you are in train and your train is at rest and the train next to you is moving, sometimes you have felt that जिस ट्रेन में अपन बैठे हैं वो ट्रेन मोशन में है एंड द ट्रेन नेक्स्ट टू अस इज एट रेस्ट. कभी कभी ऐसा लगता है एंड कभी कभी वी फील लाइक दैट ट्रेन is in motion and we are at rest, which is the truth. Actually what we see is that way. Another example can be, for example, you are standing on a passenger way. For example, this is the passenger's path over here at the train. So you are standing over here and someone is sitting over here. If the train is moving, to them you are moving and to us they are moving. Because we are standing out, we see them moving ki, oh yes they are moving. And if they are inside and they move, they are thinking oh they are moving, but for us in reality they are moving. So that is the perspective of motion and rest and hence we call it to be relative. Now what is distance? For example, again we take 2 points A and B. Now I travel like this here because the path here was very crooked, so I travel in a curve. So the length or the measure of this curve will be the distance that is travelled by me. For example, say here the distance I travelled was 7 kilometers or 7 meters. Let's consider it to be 7 kilometers. So the distance is 7 kilometers. So basically distance is nothing but just the length of the total path that you have covered. डिस्टेंस जो है वो हमेशा पॉजिटिव होता है या फिर अगर कोई मूवमेंट नहीं हुआ होता है बॉडी में तो डिस्टेंस ज़ीरो होता है. it has only got a magnitude with the unit and it does not tell us about the direction. So जिस quantity में सिर्फ एक magnitude होता है, magnitude means the numeric value, like in 7 kilometers 7 is the magnitude. So जिस quantity में सिर्फ magnitude होता है और वो अपन को direction नहीं बताती, that is a scalar quantity. and distance में अपन को कभी direction पता नहीं चलता, that is why distance is a scalar quantity. डिस्टेंस जो है वो हमेशा डिस्प्लेसमेंट से बड़ी होती है या डिस्प्लेसमेंट के बराबर होती है. नाउ व्हाट इज डिस्प्लेसमेंट? डिस्प्लेसमेंट इज द चेंज ऑफ पोजीशन ऑफ एन ऑब्जेक्ट. नाउ लेट्स से द फर्स्ट केस और द लास्ट केस वी टुक, these are the points and I was traveling like this and my total distance covered was 7 kilometers. But what is the displacement that I had? The displacement that I had will be the distance between these 2 points, or the measure between these 2 points directly, not the measure of the path that I took. So the direct measure between these two is, let's say, 4 kilometers. So I traveled a distance of 4 kilometers, sorry, a distance of 7 kilometers, while my displacement was only 4 kilometers. 4 kilometers because that is just how I changed positions. I moved from position A to position B, which are at a difference of 4 kilometers, and hence my displacement was 4 kilometers covering a distance of 7 kilometers. डिस्प्लेसमेंट जो है वो हमेशा पॉजिटिव रहता है, ऐसे ज़रूरी नहीं है. डिस्प्लेसमेंट कैन बी पॉजिटिव, इट कैन बी नेगेटिव एंड कैन इवन बी ज़ीरो. डिस्प्लेसमेंट के मैग्नीट्यूड के साथ साथ डायरेक्शन भी बताता है. फॉर एग्जांपल 4 किलोमीटर नॉर्थ, दिस इज हाउ इट इज रिटन, 4 किलोमीटर नॉर्थ. It tells us the direction as well. So the quantities which tell us direction along with magnitude are known as vector quantities. For example, 4 kilometer north displacement is a vector quantity क्योंकि अपन को direction के बारे में भी पता चल रहा है. Displacement हमेशा and always is less or equal to the distance. It can never be greater than distance. So this was our distance and displacement. Now we move on to up image, right? This is point A, this is point B. I say that I take a distance in this curved manner due to some reasons, and because let's say the only road to travel was this much and the distance over here is 12 kilometer. I covered a distance of 12 kilometer, but the displacement or the length of the path between these 2 points is just 6 kilometers. That means my displacement is 6 kilometers covering a distance of 12 kilometers. Okay, this was distance and displacement. Now next is speed. For example, I gave you a very simple question. Person A ने 5 kilometers को 3 minutes में cover करा and person B ने 5 kilometers को 2 minutes में cover करा. Who was faster? Whose speed was greater? So obviously anyone can tell कि person B's speed was greater because he covered 5 kilometers in 2 minutes. So when a person takes less time to cover a equal distance, is said to be faster. So speed is something that tells us the time rate at which an object is covering the distance. Okay, or in basic terms, speed tells us how fast or slow an object is. Speed is also a scalar quantity because it doesn't have any direction. We don't write 10 meter per second north. That is a different thing. This is not speed. That is why speed is only a scalar quantity because it doesn't give us directions. The standard unit or the international SI unit for speed is meters per second. There are also various other units जो अपन cars and scooties पे देखते हैं, that are the kilometer per hour, miles per hour and so on. Now when I gave you the first example, that 5 kilometers in 2 minutes, all I gave you was the time and the distance and you told me the speed which was greater. That means we can calculate speed as the ratio of distance and time, and that is the formula of speed is equals to distance upon time. Now we move on to the next thing, velocity. The only difference between speed and velocity is that velocity tells us the directions as well. That is why we say velocity is a vector quantity. So the difference between velocity and speed is that speed is scalar and velocity is vector. Its SI unit is also meters per second and it varies as well as like kilometer per hour, miles per hour and so on. Now we can calculate velocity as ratio of displacement and time, because speed was a scalar and also distance was a scale. So we calculated speed as distance upon time. So to calculate velocity, we will use the formula displacement upon time. So this was speed and velocity. Now we move on to average speed and average velocity. So we know the formula for speed, that is distance upon time. Now what is average speed? Average speed is the ratio of total distance to total time. So we take the total distance covered and the total time taken to cover that distance. So average speed is just equal to total distance upon total time. And average velocity also is concluded as total time taken to complete the total displacement, and hence the formula becomes total displacement upon total time. Now next is type of motion. There are two types of motion, uniform motion and non-uniform motion. So for example, I tell you that person A is walking. In the first 2 minutes he walks 2 kilometers. In the next 2 minutes he again walks next 2 kilometers. In the next 2 minutes he covers again 2 kilometers. In the next 2 minutes again 2 kilometers. Then we observe that he is having equal distancing in equal intervals of times. He is covering equal distance in equal interval of time. That means he is in uniform motion. When an object covers equal distances in equal intervals of time, we call it to be a uniform motion. Uniform motion on a distance time graph can be represented through this slanted line. Let's see how. In the first 2 seconds, the object covers 10 meters. In the next 2 seconds, the object covers next 2 meters. Next 10 meters. In the next 2 seconds, the object covers next 10 meters and so on. So that is why uniform motion is when you cover equal distance in equal interval of time. Now next is non-uniform motion. Just the opposite of uniform motion. When you cover unequal distance in equal intervals of time. For example, here you can see in first 2 seconds it covers something like 3 or 4 kilometers. Then in next 2 seconds it covers like 4 kilometers. In the next 2 seconds it covers around 15, that is your 7 kilometers. So we see that time is same. The interval between times is 2 seconds. So the time interval is equal, but the distance covered is unequal. So we say that non-uniform motion is when we cover unequal distance in equal interval of time. Now we move on to acceleration. Acceleration is nothing but the rate of change in velocity with time. Rate of change of velocity in time is called acceleration. For example, when you have to increase the speed of your scooty, you accelerate, and when you have to lower the speed, you deaccelerate. That is what acceleration is. It is the change in velocity you do with time, and it is known as acceleration. It is also vector quantity because it tells us the direction as well. Now the formula is, as we said, change in velocity with time. So we say change in velocity upon time, and we know what is the change in velocity. The final velocity we have had right now and the initial velocity we had before giving the acceleration. So we have the formula as change in velocity upon time, or final minus initial velocity upon time. The SI unit of acceleration is m upon s square, that is meter per second square. How meter per second square? We have velocity and the SI unit for velocity is meters per second. So we have meter per second, and then we have this time, and we have time it upon. So we have the initial velocity, or sorry, the SI unit of time, which is seconds. So we get this as meter per second square. That is the SI unit of acceleration. Now we have two types of acceleration, that is uniform acceleration and non-uniform acceleration. Now non-uniform acceleration and uniform acceleration are very different from uniform motion and non-uniform motion. What is uniform acceleration? Uniform acceleration is when you cover equal change in velocity at equal interval of time. For example, I say in the first 2 hours I had an acceleration of, or let's say I changed my velocity from 2 to 4. Again in the next 2 hours I changed my velocity from 4 to 6, and in the next 2 hours I changed my velocity from 6 to 8 kilometers per hour. that means my velocity is increasing equally in equal intervals of time. That means I am having uniform acceleration. Now next is non-uniform acceleration. Again, this is the opposite of uniform acceleration. When I am changing unequal velocities in equal intervals of time, that is non-uniform acceleration. For example, I say in the first 2 hours I go from 3 to 5. In the next 1 hour, we start with 1. Okay, in the first hour I go from 3 to 5. In the next 1 hour I go from 5 to 8. In the next 1 hour I go from 8 to 9. Again in the next 1 hour I go from 9 to 14. That is, my speed is accelerating but non-uniformly, because my velocity or the rate of my velocity changes unequally in equal intervals of time. That means I am having non-uniform acceleration. Next is a very important note or a difference between uniform motion in a straight line and rectilinear motion, or simply the motion in a straight line. Uniform motion is when you cover equal distance in equal interval of time in a straight line. That is uniform motion. But when you cover a motion just in straight line, whether it be uniform motion, non-uniform motion, nobody cares. It just has to be in a straight line. So when a motion is just in a straight line, independent of it being uniform, non-uniform, accelerated, deaccelerated, whatever, it is rectilinear motion. So this was the difference between uniform motion in a straight line and rectilinear motion. Now we have the distance time graph. Now distance time graph is when an object moves along a straight line. We can determine something like this. This is the dt graph, and we saw in the starting that dt graph for uniform motion is something like this. So this is a displacement time graph. On the y-axis we have d, or the distance, and at the x-axis we have the time. So this is the distance time graph. Now in distance time graph, let's say this to be y-axis and this is x-axis. The slope, for example, let's make a dt graph here. This is a dt graph and there is the slope. We know that mathematically slope has a formula. The formula for slope in maths is y upon x. So here what we have is d upon t. Y is d and x is t. So we remember that d upon t is the formula for speed. So we conclude that the slope of the dt time graph gives us the speed of the object, and hence we say that the slope of the dt time graph gives us the speed of the same object. Now here we see that when a ray is going steep, it is said to have fast and steady speed. When it is moving uniformly, it is said to be steady speed or in uniform motion as well. Now when it is parallel to the time axis, we say that it is stationary, because let's say this to be 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours and 6 hours. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, and distance over here is your 12 kilometer. 12 kilometers is the distance over here. Now you see in the third hour I have covered 12 kilometer, in the fourth hour also 12 kilometer, in the fifth hour also 12, sixth hour also 12, seventh also 12. That means the time is changing but my position is not changing. So when my position is not changing with time, that means I am at rest, and that is why the body is stationary. Now when it gets steeping upwards like this, that means it's getting faster, because high steeping is getting faster, and when it's steeping downwards, that means it is about to return to the initial point or to return to the start. This was the distance time graph. Now is the velocity time graph of the vt graph. Now it is also the same as the distance time graph, just we have the difference is instead of distance at the y-axis, we take velocity at the y-axis, and in dt graph the slope gave us the speed, but here the acceleration is given by the slope. Now here we see this is a line steeply and this is a constant acceleration because it is moving constantly. Now when it is parallel to the y-axis, when it's parallel to the x-axis over here, or let's say it's parallel to the time axis, we observe that it is constant velocity. How? Here in the 4th second, 5th second, 6th second, 7th second, In all these 4 seconds, the velocity was 8 meters per hour. It was not changing. That means the velocity was same or constant. So a parallel line to the time axis in velocity time graph gives us a constant velocity. Now we have when it is declining or when it is steeping downwards, then we say it is constant deaccelerated. When we accelerate, the velocity increases, and when we deaccelerate, the velocity decreases, and hence we are having constant deacceleration. And hence we say that the velocity is moving from 8 to 0 downwards, backwards. So this was the distance time graph and the velocity time graph. Now we move on to the equations of motion. Equations of motions are nothing but 3 equations which were proposed by Sir Isaac Newton. This जो है they give us a relationship between a physical object and उसके ऊपर कोई भी forces जो apply हो रहे हैं उस पर, ठीक है. So there are 3 equations of motions and we are going to learn them. But before that, there are some abbreviations which are used in learning those 3 equations of motion. These are S, U, V, A and T, and we use them while writing the equations. S stands for displacement or distance, U stands for initial velocity, V for final velocity, A is acceleration and T is time. Now we move towards the first equation of motion, that is V is equals to U plus AT. Here we have final velocity is equals to initial velocity plus acceleration into time. Second equation of motion is S is equals to ut plus half at square. Okay, at square. So we have distance is equals to initial velocity into time plus half into acceleration into time squared. The third equation of motion is v square is equals to u square plus 2as, or final velocity squared is equals to initial velocity squared plus 2 into acceleration into distance or displacement. We can also write it as v square minus u square is equals to 2as. If we shift this u square over here, we have v square minus u square is equals to 2as. These are the 3 equations of motions, and now we will see the examples. The example of first equation of motion. The first equation of motion was v is equals to u plus at. The question says John is riding the giant drop at Canada. If John free falls for 2.6 seconds, what will be his final velocity? Or we have to find the v. So we are finding the v. Free fall is done when the initial velocity of a person is 0. So during free fall, your initial velocity has to be 0. That means we have velocity as 0 plus at. So we directly write it as gt. Now why did we write gt here? Gt is the same as at, but the only difference is while free falling, you are falling down and no forces are acting upon you except for gravity. So the acceleration due to gravity is written as g, or 9.8 meter per second. So we will take acceleration over here as 9.8 meter per second, which is g. So we write v is equals to 9.8 into 2.6, which is the given time to us, and hence we conclude it to be 25.48 meter per second, which is the final velocity of John. This was the first equation of motion, v is equals to u plus at. Next is the second equation of motion. The second equation of motion is an airplane accelerates down a runway at 3.20 meter per second square for 32.8 seconds until it finally lifts off the ground. Determine the distance travelled before it takeoffs. So the distance is written as s. So we have to find the s. The equation we are going to use is s is equals to ut plus half at square. The quantities given to us are the initial velocity to be 0, because when an airplane starts accelerating, obviously its initial velocity will be 0, and that is why we have written u, or initial velocity, as 0. Then we have written acceleration to be 3.20 meter second per square, and then time as 32.8 seconds. Here we written s is equals to ut plus half at square. Now we write s is equals to half at square. Now you see we have not written ut. We have not written ut because u is 0 and t is 32.8. 0 into 32.8 is 0, and half at square plus 0 is half at square. So we wrote s is equals to half at square. We put the values half as 0.5, a as 3.20 and t as 32.8 square, and we get the answer 1721.344 meters. This was the distance which was travelled before the takeoff of the plane. Now, next is example of third equation of motion. A stone is thrown up with a velocity of 5 meter per second in half 5 meter per second in half second with this is acceleration of 10 meter per second square. Calculate its height. So we have 2as is equals to v square minus c square. We shift 2as over 2a over here. So we have s is equals to minus c square upon 2a. Putting the values, we get 5 upon 4 meters as the final velocity, or sorry, the height of the stone. So 5.4 is the s of the stone, and we use the third equation of motion. So this completes our equations of motions, and now we have the uniform circular motion. When any object moves in a circular path with constant or uniform speed, it is uniform circular motion. For example, motion of the clock's hands, then revolving of the earth around the sun and moon around the earth are all uniform circular motion. And when you are rotating, a very important thing is that in an circular motion, velocity changes at every second, because this place you see the direction is here, and in the next point the direction is here. That means the direction is changing at every time, and it is not very constant in direction. And here also you see this direction is over here, this direction is over there, this direction is over there. So direction keeps on changing at every point, and hence we are not very sure about the direction. So this was the uniform circular motion. And now we end this presentation. Thank you. Hope you liked it.